So hello and welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk about a specific thing that I think is very important for brands and content creators alike. I'm currently in my favorite office space in my car as always, because for some reason I really enjoy working from my car, and I don't know what it is about this place, but it actually works for me. I can work from my car better than I can work from home. So yeah, here I am. I wanted to talk about a specific question I got yesterday in my inbox, and it was about the magazine features I do for Inspired Magazine. And the question was if I have a certain filter process, a certain selection process of how I select the brands that I will feature in the magazine. I actually always say yes, I do have a selection process, but those criteria have actually nothing to do with the things you might think they would have to do with. One of the main reasons for me, for example, is I really do not care in which industry you're in. I don't care if you're a fashion designer. I don't care if you're a tech startup. I don't care if you do hair. I don't care if if you're an artist and you paint. That is really not relevant to me. It's more relevant to me that I can show that this is more about than just pushing product. I want to see who built this brand. I want to see the person with a mission. I want to see the founder's face. I want to see why they serve a specific customer, what makes them unique, and these are the things I cannot find in a logo. So this is basically the most important criteria that I have. If you don't show your face and I cannot find anything about you as a founder online on your brand's website, then we are probably not a fit. Inspired Magazine is about showing the behind the scenes stories. So if I can't find anything about you, it doesn't really make sense to feature you. It comes down to your reputation. Let's say you approach me to be featured in Inspired Magazine or in the Maker's Vault, or I approach you because I love what I found about you and I love what you do. It's mainly because your reputation came into the room before you did. And let me explain this. Remember the last time when you reached out to a retailer or investor, or if you're a content creator, you reached out to a brand for a certain collaboration. What do you think was the first thing they did before they got back to you? They probably Googled you in the first place. If you have a website, for example, that is all over the place and doesn't really make sense, doesn't really say anything, or if you have social media where you just have like a wild mix of personal stuff and business stuff, and there is not really like a common ground through all of your posts, then it's kind of like you're losing a little bit of credibility right from the beginning, because they don't know who you are. They don't know what is this person stand for, what do they do, what is their mission, what do they even want to achieve with a collaboration. So it is very, very important that before you reach out to anyone else, you build a reputation that speaks for you when you're not in the room, especially when you get someone else's attention and then they start to Google you, and whatever they will find, that's the picture they will paint of you, and then that's what they're going for. And if they don't like what they see, then you're kind of like losing a couple of credibility points, and it's on you to make up and convince them that you are the right fit. And it's the same thing for me when someone reaches out to be featured in the magazine, and I'm obviously starting to Google them first, and I will see, okay, what is your brand about, what do you stand for. I will be the one who is taking responsibility to whatever is published in the magazine, and therefore I have to make sure that everyone I feature is not going against those values, because at the end of the day, this could always come back to me. And I think this is something that everyone should be aware of and pay attention to. When we're talking about reputation, there is a couple things that you can actually do as a brand owner or as a content creator to influence these things. The easiest thing for you to do is you could just share your process, like share how does your business work? How is your thinking process? Why do you make decisions a certain way? Show your warehouse, show your team, show how you are, functioning, how your thought process is when you working on a new collection, or things like that. Just things that make you human and not just hiding behind your logo. You have probably also learned a lot about the past, or in the past years before you started the business. Normally you don't just found it from one day to the other and then you just start fresh and you don't have any prior experience. You could just simply teach people in your certain field certain things. And what I always love is if people are not gatekeeping. I love a good behind the scenes view. I love a good, this is what I learned in the last few years building this business or developing this product, or being on social media for so long as a fashion designer. I know very good how it feels like to be the starving artist for a very long time. So if I can find someone who can actually speak to how is it to survive these things, like also questions like, when do you give up? Like we all know that if you're a brand owner, like overnight success is very, very rare. And for me personally, I have been in business now for over 15 years, and I cannot tell you how often I was in the situation where I'm like, you know what, F this, I have no idea what I'm doing. I, for the life of me, cannot figure these things out. And there was always like a certain thing, like, I put the business down for like a week or two and then I came back to it. And then, 2 weeks later, I tried to pivot in a different direction. And, these are the phases where I'm like, it doesn't matter which industry you're in, this is common ground for everyone. And if you can document how you got out of this rut, so other people are inspired enough, even if it's just to move like 1 week further, then this is actually super, super helpful for everyone who is starting to grow something as a brand, but also as a content creator. Because content creation looks maybe easy, but I know it's not, and we all know it's not. We all know it's a lot of work. We all know it's a lot of being unique, finding your own voice, fighting against a lot of competitors out there who all want the brand deals. We know how hard it is. So document yours and document your journey and show people actually what you're about, and then you will get sympathy points. You're building your reputation of someone who is just like sturdy in the storm. I don't know if that's the right thing how you frame it, but it's just like someone who is persistent, someone who is not giving up. And then in the process, your personality will shine, your character will shine. And if this is something I will find out about you when you ask me to feature you, and I find out that, for example, you are doing this for quite a while and you never gave up because of this and this and this reason, that's a lot of huge plus points for me. And I would, gladly to work with you if you just show your face, if you just, show some humanity and show there's actually a person behind the business, and this is not just about, pushing products in someone's face. And for the brand specifically, it is so tough. I know as a brand, you obviously want to make money, you have expenses and you want this to be successful, but you cannot and should not ignore the fact that people hate being sold to. And if you don't find a way to not just to entertain, but to engage readers and to show them that you actually care about them, it's getting really, really tough out there. And I personally, as a consumer, I hate it when the only thing I see about a brand is just products shoved in my face, only advertising. There is no storytelling behind it. There is no put your products in lifestyle context. Tell me why they are so useful for me in a day-to-day life, and instead of just like, here you have a 30% coupon or 10% if you sign up for the newsletter. If you're doing these things, you're just one of 100 brands I see every single day on the socials, and who just want to sell me some stuff. But what makes you unique? Your story makes you unique. Your personality makes you unique. The way you maybe develop your products, your hero ingredient, your your story behind your collection that you're bringing out next month. That makes it unique, and that's when I start to like you, and your reputation enters the room before you even get in. At the end of the day, I think it's just very important that if you want to collaborate with someone, if you want to get attention from someone, if you want to keep the attention, it's very important. Work on your reputation. It's not something you can purchase with money. It's something you can only build over time with character, with a backbone, with, you know, just showing that that you care about other people and not just want to make money. So this is all what I have for you today. And if you want to see more videos like this, if you want to have more of a behind the scenes, or if you have a specific question for me in terms of storytelling for brands or content creators, please just write it in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye.